Everyone, how's it going? Not Too Dead here. So this is another part of the series of some Shacklemen talk and discussion. Just kind of trying to give a little bit of information out to people. Some of the guys in the club, people interested, just stuff like that. General overall safety. And first one, we did a little shimming and stuff. I should have kind of did this one first, so we're going to kind of go backwards a little bit, but not necessarily. So today I wanted to talk about keys, touch on shims a little bit again, just basically keys and the differences of keys, and also, I guess, ulterior motives to opening stuff, the everyday items that you could carry with you, stuff like that. So yeah, let's jump right into it. First of all, Shacklemen here. You can check us out, #Shacklemen. Find all kinds of cool videos on there of all the guys in the club. We're currently competing in a competition involving a set of cuffs here. These ones, the TCH folding rigids. So there's all kinds of cool shenanigans and fun stuff with that if you go check out the Shacklemen. So we'll start off, I guess, with just basically American made or US made cuffs, because that's where I'm based. That's what I mostly have. And don't get me wrong here, there is so many more keys. This is just an example of what I have, what I've collected, the cuffs that are available to me, the styles, things like that. So I felt like I had a decent enough example of everything to be able to show, the most part of what's involved. Most of the US cuffs use a similar based key. There's a few exceptions when you get into some higher security ones and stuff like that with split paws and different types of, mechanisms. So, that being said, try to show you guys an example here. We'll show some keys. This is a little lanyard that I keep with some backup keys on it. And the first several ones here are US-based companies. You have Peerless. This one is a Chicago split paw for the X22 cuffs. And then this is a Smith & Wesson one. So these three brands here, they use different keys. You can use one with the other, kind of so-and-so. Like you can use the split paw usually with a regular one. But Smith & Wesson has a slightly different style key and everything. And the Peerless key won't work in the Smith & Wesson and vice versa usually. So that's why I have those on there. I don't do a lot with Smith & Wessons. I only have a couple pairs. So down the road, if I get more of them, I'll have more keys kicking around. And then this is for the Claduso German-made cuffs. And then this is a Yule Russian-style cuffs. I have the thumb cuffs for those. And you notice the blade on this, if you compare it to a traditional... Let me just grab one over here. It'll be easier. If you compare it to a traditional key, see how much shorter that blade is? So something like that, obviously, come on, focus. Amen. Too much stuff in the background, I'm thinking. Come on, there we go. Yeah, so see how much shorter that is there, the Yule key. So obviously this key would not work in that. This one might work for that cuff, but you'd be chancing breaking that off or whatever, so you might not want to do that. So the right key is important for the right job, right task, I guess. If you're playing with cuffs and, messing around, you want to be safe. Always have a backup. The lanyard works. Tuck it right under your shirt. You got access to it. And then that's the Claduso high security cuffs with the triple paws. I'll show those here in a little bit. But so that's kind of that setup here. Like I said, the Smith & Wesson's a little different. So, depending on what you're messing with, those are kind of some of the, ASP has this style key. Theirs looks like this. And it's the same as the other ones, the Peerless and whatnot, for the most part. They'll work hand in hand. It has a shorter blade on it than a Peerless one, but it will work for Peerless cuffs. And vice versa, like here's some ASPs, and the Peerless key should work just fine in there. Bam. And these do have kind of like a plastic mechanism in there. So you want to be careful when you're using keys with certain cuffs and stuff too. You don't want to force them. Everything should work smoothly. You shouldn't have to force a key when you're doing cuffs and they're new. So if you're doing that and you're forcing it, you find yourself putting crazy pressure, something's wrong, don't do that. It shouldn't need that kind of force. You shouldn't have to take pliers and get on there and you're just gonna break a key off and you're gonna be stuck in something. So always practice out on the bench like that first, like I did there. You know, don't put them on you and then wow, oh shoot, they don't open now. Well, yeah, you got to practice them out first. Don't do a double lock, just do single lock to start, so you can figure that out, you know, and then go from there. If something happens, you can shim your way out. So then keys come in all sorts of different fashions. Like I said, I showed some of those. Got, you know, all the other ones, not all of them, but a bunch of different keys from the cuffs that I've got. These are for the high security ones with medical cores on there. So obviously that's going to be a little trickier. And those cuffs are here. And they have like a deadbolt style double locking mechanism. So it's going to be a lot trickier to get out something like that. But you can shim these without the double lock, and you can use a wrap attack to remove the double lock and then shim them. So they kind of put all that on there. I don't know. There's some newer versions where I think they fixed that and kind of put an even higher security mechanism and lock on there as well. But, you know, there's just different keys. This one comes with the Brazilian ones. These ones were modified for DRM, the Doncaster Restraint Museum. I could never pronounce the name right. Let me see if I can find the box. Yeah, I don't have the box next to me. ALGEMAS, Algemas, Brazil. And that's their key that they provide with them. I like the longer ones like this. You get the pin on the back to set the double lock. This gives you a lot better control of the key. You put a key ring on there. And these certain cuffs, you know, different cuffs have keyholes oriented in different directions too. This one has keyholes on both sides. Some cuffs don't. So this right here, they got it up. This one is sideways. Something to pay attention to too whenever you're doing cuff practice. Keep the keyhole orientation in a manner that you can access it, and don't have one flip-flop from the other unless you want to do that intentionally. But that can make it a lot trickier on yourself without needing to, you know. So, you know, those kind of keys like that, I like the nice flat ones. Then I'll leave these out here. We'll show those in a little minute. I'm just going to pick up the rest of these and get them out of the way. Got all this clutter here now. All right, so just to show you an example too, the Peerless key is pretty much your go-to. I like the gold-plated ones. They're kind of fancy, but here's a pair of Peerless 700Cs. Obviously, it's going to work in those. I have found that if it's gold-plated, I think sometimes it has given me some issues with tolerances, but that works in the Peerless 700s. Here's a pair of Winchester handcuffs. Just a quick, you know, demonstration. Bam, works nice in those as well. Here's a pair of Tac Force or Tac Stealth, something I bought off Amazon. Works just fine in those. The Brazilian ones again, DRM cuffs, works just fine in those. We'll go over, try the ASP. I mean, you get the hint. All kinds of different brands working just fine in there. Then you come down to the Smith & Wesson. And it works in there. Huh. I didn't think that one worked in there for some reason. Well, I'll be darned. Of course, the Smith & Wesson works just fine. Maybe it's the other way. I was probably mistaken that the Smith & Wesson won't work in the Peerless. It will. So now I'm kind of confused here. A little buggered on that one. Maybe it's the other models. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know everything. Just here to give you guys a rundown on what I do know here. And then, though, this is the one for sure. The X22 models. That is not going to work. And the reason being is inside here, it's a split paw, and there's a little thin piece of metal down in between there. So the key has to be notched to account for that. Hence the notched key. So the higher security cuffs, I think the X55s and 22, stuff like that, have the notched key in some other brands. ASP has one like that, so it's good to have that key available as well. You want to make sure you don't mix them up, you try to do something, you have the wrong ones on, and then you're like, oh shoot. That's why they're not coming off. But yeah, sorry, my OCD is getting to me over there. All right, so that we covered some split paw. We got kind of the regular ones. Then the next thing would be into kind of disguise stuff, things like that. This one's the ASP pen, really cool. It's got the handcuff blade on the end, and it also writes. You can pick this up from Handcuff Warehouse. You can get it engraved with whatever you'd like on your name, channel name, whatever. But that's neat. That thing right there works for most brand cuffs. You can use the pen to set the double lock as well. So that's a neat little option. Another one, I hate showing this one because it is discontinued and no longer available, but there's other products like it out there. This one's a pen as well. Twist open, twist close. It's also kind of a tactical pen, metal, glass break. And the neat thing about this is you unscrew that, and it's got the pin to set the double lock and a handcuff blade in there. So you can orient this in different ways, use that, go straight, whatever, but it's a neat little option to have a hidden handcuff key like that. Like I said, there's other brands. You can pick those up, search for them. You might get lucky enough to find one of these, on the eBay or something like that. And you can, if you want to just use it like this, that cap flips around, and you could just leave it set up in, a vest or something like that to slip out with it like this in your pocket, whatever, already in the key configuration. Whatever your choice is. Another handy classic one is the Parker pen, and that's known for most of us in the escape community, that you can use this blade here, snap that off, and you can manufacture a key out of that as well that works really well. You can also use this if you have a key and cuffs on. You can take the key, slip it over that. Now you have access. You can get around to the back, maneuver it. You can get around up into the front, whatever you're doing. Use that to manipulate the key, turn it, and set yourself out. Obviously, don't escape if you're being detained by the police, anything like that. Another example of a key would be this ASP Sentry key, a little clip style, like I don't know if you want to call it like a stiletto style key. Ripped out of there a little bit, but I didn't want to open that yet. But I mean, you can see what it is. So that's a smaller one. You could clip that somewhere on you as well. Nice option. And you get into more stealthy stuff, you could replace this with like one of your paracord bracelets, something like that, on a camera case, on a fanny pack. I mean, your backpack, your sling bag, anything that has some kind of buckle on it. You're just about anything, you know what I mean? And this pops out, and they have different versions of these. I've seen some with fire strikers, other things, but there's a little polymer handcuff key in there, and it snaps out. And it's not necessarily a one-time use. You could hide it somewhere else after that. You could stitch it into something, behind a button on a collar or something like that, so you could break it out or bite it and chew it off, whatever. So that's a neat little option. This with some Southern Specialties. A lot of the stuff here I picked up from them. This is from them as well, the Delta key. This is the longer one. Nice metal construction. It's got the notch on the back to accommodate for some other security features in cuffs. The split paw. This is, I believe, around 16, 17 bucks. I threw a little lanyard on there. Highly recommend having something like that. You're not going to break that. You're not going to, I mean, you can. Everything's possible, I guess. But you're going to have a hard time messing that one up. You know what I mean? So, different style. We'll get to that in a minute. Then you got, your bobby pins. We're getting into alternative methods. You can slip these just about anywhere, inside of hats, inside of collars, sleeves, whatever. And it doesn't matter what style, what color, they all work, and the cuff isn't going to care what color the bobby pin is. So you got silver, brown ones, whatever. Then they have the smaller version. Oh, shoot. I forgot to grab the other one. Darn it. I kind of want to go grab it and show you guys, but they have this key on a bracelet. and it has a glass break on there as well. It's threaded around there. I keep it wrapped around my headlamp because my headlamp's almost always with me. But I also have this in my pocket, smaller Delta key. Kept it on the paper clip. This is a trick that a buddy of mine taught me, and it works freaking phenomenal. And then I just added the other stuff on there to have extra options. But this acts, you can pinch on that and use this as a handle to turn that, because this by itself can be kind of tricky. But you can tie this, slip it on bootlaces, other things. There's so many different areas you could hide that key. They have some of these like this with clips. You can clip it on a belt loop on the inner side. You know, they have ones that are polymer, everything else. So, and also make sure you're checking your local laws and everything. Don't be carrying anything if you're not supposed to be. Make sure you have everything with the right intent. And, you know, but here's a couple other shims here that I keep on there. Some titanium shims, and I slip a bobby pin on there too to kind of hold it all nice and neat and contained. Bobby pin I found slips right over the back here nicely. Oops, bam, and holds everything kind of neat and in there like that. And you have multiple options with something like that as well. And this one's, you know, you can use it for certain cuffs, stuff like that. You could definitely, you know, depending if you're doing lock stuff, but I just wanted to show this, a little mini Bogota set, nano Bogota set with a spring, basically like a big pen spring and a little clip here. And you can clip and have something like that, you know, tucked away somewhere on you as well, in your hat, whatever you want to do. These ones, some foreign ones again. And then getting over to here, other types of shims, stuff like that. I do apologize. This one's going to be a little bit longer of a video, folks, but, you know, a lot of stuff to cover here, so I want to show it. We'll touch more on shims and other stuff and carry methods, you know, down the road, and ways to kind of more conceal it. But this one's a collar shim, or stay like you tuck it up in your collar to keep it nice and tight. So if you work in an office place, something like that, this is a nice alternative. You could slip that in a belt if you have like a money belt. Anywhere else you can think of, you know, tuck that in. That's another one available from Southern Specialties. Also, so is this one. These are like heavy duty industrial style clips, hair clips, whatnot, but they have all kinds of different features. You can bend and break this and make an improvised shim like I've done here out of these ones, which you just take a traditional one like this, pop it open, and you just bend it back and forth. You pinch right here and you bend this back and forth a few times, and it's going to break, forming, depending on where you pinch it and what your needs are. If you need longer ones or shorter ones, you bend it and you'll end up, that pivot on the end here, you have a little pivoting style shim. So you got a little 2-part shim that you can use to get into the cuffs with a regular old hair clip. This one's a little more heavy duty, has like a saw blade on the side, a couple other utility things. You could cut zip ties, some string, something like that. There's a little measuring thing, you know, screwdriver, stuff like that, you know, flathead, whatever. I forget what this is. It's like a little pry bottle opener maybe, but that's a neat little option, a little more heavy duty, so something else you could carry with you as well. Then of course, you know, you got other stuff. Come on, there we go, snap that bag. Other keys. You got other style shims, and you have your flat ones with split paws like that, and like a flat handle. Then you have your straight ones. These are kind of almost more one-off because they may go winging out of there or get lost. So I consider these more like a stealth kind of thing, whatnot, concealment, you know, for people in law enforcement, operators, special forces would probably like something like that. But you can slice yourself, your fingers, so you got to be careful when using these. And then some other style shims. You can also get shims like that in a longer version, and there was going to be another even cooler version that Coxie Picks designed coming out from Southern Specialties as well, but this is in 2 different thicknesses, longer, so it gets into cuffs that have the paws tucked down inside further. Oh, you can't really see on that one. I'll show you one where, yeah, some of them, they're tucked way down inside there further, so the shorter shim isn't going to work, you know what I mean? It's going to barely engage in the front of the paw. So the longer ones are nice. And you can slip these up in a ball cap, you know, on the lip inside. inside of like a belt thing, like I said earlier, around a collar that's folded up, tuck something like this. You could even hide it behind a watch with a like a little gel dot or glue dot, and you can get the little dots from Southern, so you could do that with the shorter shims and have them tucked right behind your watch. So definitely handy to have some shims, and they're fun to shim stuff with. This is their little fold-in OSS pocket set from Southern as well. It's a little pick set. Great little option to have too. Little turning tool, saw blade. This thing means business. Like, I've sawed wood with that, like no joke. I didn't think the blade would be that nice. And then when it folds out, it's almost the size of a regular pick as well. So you can use these for handcuffs, stuff like that. So I just wanted to mention that as well. More kind of lock, more whatever, but if you're chains, you're doing other stuff like that. Something like that could be neat as well. Little mini zip ties work for shims, other things like that, straws, money. I carry this in my wallet as another backup. Couple paper clips, couple bobby pins, couple long shims, each thickness, and a basic Bogota set, stainless steel Bogota set. So there's different options, ways you can carry. This is a case that you can get from Southern or Hard Case Survival. They sell these. Some of them have the sleeve on the back, so you could slip the door latch tool, all that. I just have that in a different compartment in my wallet. But another option, I'm not going to show a lot of time on it, but just wanted to show that, different ways you can keep stuff with you that has access and have multiple ways of getting to it and multiple ways of engaging stuff if you don't have a key or whatnot. And that doesn't take up a lot of space. I just keep like some receipts and a couple, things around this, and you don't even know it's in there. It tucks right down in the wallet. Another thing for zip tie type stuff, since we're talking about the saws and things like that, like a Technor or Kevlar cord rope, you can get it in different thicknesses. Same thing, you can wind this up, loop it inside your hat, inside of a belt, your collar, sleeve, different things. You have this away or tucked away as well, but you can use that like a wire saw. And it's heat resistant, friction resistance because of the Kevlar and everything. It's not going to rip or wear. And it actually has really strong weight retention too, depending on the thickness. This stuff is heavy duty, so you could use it for gear repair, other things as well. You not just that, you could use it for other emergencies type situations and things. And then just to show some of the other types of cuffs real quick that you might engage, like I mentioned these keys for the higher security. So you have that. The Ewell style thumb cuffs use that short blade one. So you need a special key for those. They're double locked right now. Bam. And then unlocks them there. So those are neat, cool little cuff. And you might still find something like that used in a third world type environment, something like that. All right, then we're over to, I want to show these ones that use the fancy split paw key there. And they have these in earrings and stuff like that on Southern. Fancy Duck, other companies have them too. But there's different kind of stealthy duck, I think they're called. The like little keychain ones and stuff that doesn't look like a handcuff key. It's kind of designed to look like a duck. So it's pretty cool. But that key goes in here. It's a split keyway. And that's got a triple paw in there. Pretty neat cuff. Very well made cuff too. Double lock back here. Little push button double lock. Boom. And it's all one motion with these. I like that. Instead of having to go one way all the way, the other way. Nice cuffs. That's a Clijuso number 9s. Made in Germany. And then the next style would be like these Bangles style. And this was more old style, antique, vintage, type stuff. And it would have a pin tumbler style lock like that. Uses a traditional key. You could try to rake it open, pick it open, shim it possibly through there. I don't know. Actually, you wouldn't be able to get any shims. Oh, you might be able to get one on there. I'm going to have to try that. See if you can shim these. I bet you can on this lock. It's not a very fancy lock. But these were from Chicago, Handcuff Warehouse, Chicago Handcuffs. So then the last style that you may run into and stuff like that I have and an example of, and many of you might have seen this honking key over there and been like, what the heck is that thing? It uses a screw style mechanism, and that's Darby style cuffs. So that just screws in, it'll eventually engage, pull out, and release that. So that's a really cool type mechanism in there. These are Chicago model, Darby's as well. Beautiful, nice chrome finish on there. I mean, you can't go wrong with those things. Those things are stunning. So if you guys haven't yet, you know, like and subscribe for sure. Check out the other stuff. This will be in the playlist along with another video. And going to keep doing more series every couple weeks or whatnot. Or adding to the series, I should say, more videos. Like I said, this one's a little bit of a long one, but just wanted to see how it went, show some different stuff, you know, let you guys see. Oh, here's another one. Shoot. Little key hidden type thing. You can have this, and it's a zipper pull. So that key sits inside there, closes up. I'll be doing a video on that. And that's a neat little way too. You could put that on your purse, handbag, you know, whatever, backpack, your jacket, all that kind of stuff as well. Your tactical vest, your, you know, your duty belt, whatever you might have that you're using. So I'm trying to see if there was anything I missed here. I'm sure there was some other stuff I was going to try to. Yeah, and like oversized or leg irons. It doesn't matter. They use the same key as well. These are oversized ones. These are leg irons. Might as well be the same thing. But they use a regular traditional key. So, you know, there's nothing really special about that kind of stuff usually either. Hinged models. These are hinged model Peerless. The ones I have in Chicago. Both use the same type key. There's no security features in these like the other cuffs. So, you know, just to show that it doesn't really matter, like that kind of difference from chain to that to rigid. Most of them will still use the same thing. It's the mechanism inside that matters. If you guys have any questions, though, make sure you drop them in the comments. Definitely, if you like this or enjoyed it, let me know. And stay tuned for more. Take care. Have a great one, everyone.